Mr. Steven, it seems you have the suds. Are you ready for your treatment?
No.
Too bad, you're gonna get anyway. Oh, Hans!
And it's just the whole big thing, and they just freaking.
I don't want to
dump
be
it
used to
on
scrub a man's back.
you. You don't ever want to question that matter. Maybe that was the fabled man that we saw behind the grand curtains of Atlantis.
Oh yeah, it's the exact same actor.
Oh, well, because that's Tom Kenny, I assumed.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Wait,
Yeah,
are you talking about the
well-
doctor?
Oh no, not the doctor. It's like you know the scene where, like I mentioned before, there was a shot where they used the sponge to scrub a man's back.
Oh, yeah, I think that might have been Tom Kenny.
Yeah, I say that because he also has a very similar cameo in the Atlantis episode where, you know, King Neptune pulls out the curtain to reveal him.
Yeah,
Behold!
Oopsie.
It's fantastic.
So,
Anyway.
ladies and gentlemen, we are back in Rock Bottom, and we actually found a rather odd-looking fish while we were traversing around these parts.
Yep.
Looks more like a bird to me.
Welcome, Duggan.
Oh, yes, hi, Doug.
Hi,
Hey, Duggan.
Duggan.
Oh, and hey, Barnacle Boy. So, Duggan. No, sorry. Hey, so Doug, we are doing some more SpongeBob today. And we were while I was deciding I should ask, have you played Battle for Bikini Bottom in the past?
Well, unlike you. Pay attention, kid. This is serious stuff. Now,
Sorry,
if we don't
Barnacle
get this
boy.
robot thing
That's
resolved,
such sass, I'm not gonna
Shady
lie.
Show will shut down
But
the
yeah,
internet.
Doug, how about, like, your history with the game? And if you want, you can also transition that to, like, just your history with SpongeBob in
You see
general.
that vent on the other side
I
of the
don't have
museum?
too much of a history
Yes,
when it
sir.
came to Battle
That's
of
where
Bikini
you
Bottom
exit the
because
museum.
no one
Good luck,
mentioned
kid.
to me the only SpongeBob game I played was the one with Flying Dutchman in the game box art.
Right, Revenge of the Flying Dutchman.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
one's
Oh,
That's
and
the-
it's
Little
so
rougher around
funny
the edges.
because earlier I was thinking about that commercial way back in the day, and I was hearing it in my head, and it's like, wow, I can't believe I actually remember it after all these years.
What was that with the two Squidwards?
Take me, you wild animal.
that freaking video. So this is actually a very cute very cute thing is that before this gallery didn't actually have too many posters. I think maybe there was just some concept art, maybe some production images
Yeah,
from the show. But
it was largely a mixture of, like, real-life photos, I'm guessing, of, like, the actual Heavy Iron Studios building, and some, like, stock paintings that they had as well.
But here, what they actually have done is they actually went the. This is probably one of the most. Oh, jeez, Vincent Van Gogh. This is actually probably one of the more like passionately updated areas in the entire game where they actually. I don't know who is the actual
boy.
artist,
Or art.
but they actually went they went to the trouble to update and modify.
Oh.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, that's
they
the one
might-
with
Nice
this animation.
Finley, if you please.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Professor Pickle. Yes, updating many different famous paintings in SpongeBob style. And I don't believe these appear anywhere else. I think it is just
As far as
this
I know, they
game
don't.
that has these little bits here. That over there, I don't know what that is. That may just be a children's drawing, or
Uh-huh.
I don't want to wait.
I
Well,
hate
you
patience.
gotta wait.
Anyway, so sorry. Back to you, Doug.
Yeah, the Revenge of the Flying Dutchman is the only SpongeBob game I've ever played. When it comes to SpongeBob franchise in general, I did grow up with it mostly because of one of my aunts watching SpongeBob stuff on demand. While I was mostly a Cartoon Network kid, but I did watch quite a few SpongeBob around my time.
That's nice.
Any in particular still sticks to you?
Nothing's really coming to mind because it's been over a decade for me since I've seen a SpongeBob episode.
That's fine. How about any of the movies? Have you seen any of them?
I've only seen the first one.
Okay.
Some would argue that's really the only one you need to see, even though I still think there's plenty to worth seeing with Sponge Out of Water.
I don't doubt
Right.
it. I don't doubt it.
Sponge on the Run, on the other hand, I mean, I'm still debating if I should really give that one a watch myself or not, because I've mostly just been keeping away from it after all the backlash regarding it.
Yeah, honestly, from what I've seen, I would say, like, it would be worth checking out at least once, at least for the animation, because I generally do like how the movie's animated.
Oh, absolutely. Like, that is easily the highlight of the whole film, from what little I've seen of it.
What was the backlash about?
Basically, there's a handful of flashback scenes in the movie that more or less act as a basis for the controversial Camp Coral spinoff.
Well, the idea is that many people, myself, after seeing all that, I can't help but feel like Runaway Snail or The Search for, what are they called again?
It's called Sponge on the Run.
Yeah.
I can't help but feel like Sponge on the Run is just a proxy commercial for Camp Coral.
Which is funny because I remember like one of the previous drafts that they had for the movie was like incredibly different from when we ended up in the final product, and a lot more out there in terms of like concept. Like there were all these space cats that SpongeBob had to fight, and at one point he had to go up on the surface to fight them, and it's like, I can't say if it would have made a better movie, but it certainly sounds like it would have been more interesting.
Well, at the very least, it would have felt more like they were just having fun with it and going and like trying wacky ideas out rather than just make a commercial to sell you on another show that many and
wax figurines.
Ever alert! Mermaid Man has trained himself to sleep with his eyes open.
You want to know the sick part of it all is that it's hard to even tell if those are even wax figures or not.
Yeah, honestly, what I think would have been like a cute detail is if the figurines were just wholesale models ripped from the original game.
That would be funny.
That actually would have been pretty neat, like crude wax sculptures just of those models. I think we mentioned the show. To date, the best thing. Nice. Whoops. The game could not handle what just happened there for a moment.
It was too powerful.
That's 2 Scream pictures.
Oh my
in here.
goodness.
Me. They really love to scream.
I guess so. So the other thing was, hey, that one's moving.
That's an animatronic.
Oh.
So that's
is
that what they call it?
I guess they're getting the jump on that old artifact collection.
Wait, is that...
hello.
There's a lot of squid on squid in these pieces of art I've noticed.
Now take me, you wild animal.
Squidward has a lot of self-love in this world.
Yeah, he's very self-absorbed.
I mean, some days you just gotta love yourself, am I right? Please take me.
Anywho. So, the only thing that I remember liking in Camp Coral... Hey, look, the Venus. The only thing I remember liking from Camp Coral, from a clip I'd seen, was that they did actually come up with their own Bold and Brash.
Well, you know. Okay, that I know for a fact was in the original.
Yes, we know that. Yeah, definitely. That one I know. I'm not gonna question it for now. Oh, there we go. And now, if I can get Sandy, now I can get to some of those other like socks and things. But we're gonna have to leave for now, so I can get Sandy. Anyway, the only thing I remember liking about Camp Coral was that they actually came up with a very they came up with a decent enough canon explanation for why Sandy was in the prequel.
Oh yeah, I liked that.
It was cute,
considering that otherwise it should not have made sense.
Right. And honestly, that's just kind of one of the, like, between Camp Coral the show and Camp Coral the segments from the movie, is definitely one of the more controversial things, is that, like, they established that Camp Coral is where SpongeBob met everyone. And it's like, I don't mind if that's where he met, like, Gary or Patrick or maybe even Squidward. It's where he met Sandy and Mr. Krabs where I feel like it's a little bit too out of the ordinary.
Well, first off,
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Because otherwise, you'd think then by that canon, by that knowledge, again, the explanation they have for why Sandy is there, they make sense. Now it's just, a parallel timeline, because why the hell not? Every other show has something like that going on for itself nowadays.
Yeah, it's the Patrick Star Show.
Right. But with Mr. Krabs, like, in their first ever episode, the freaking what was it called? The crab, was it just called Anchovies or Krabby Patty or?
Of the original series, I think it was Help Wanted.
Help Wanted is the name of the original the pilot.
With that, Mr. Krabs was questioning it as though he didn't actually know who SpongeBob was.
I mean, you could also make the argument that Mr. Krabs probably up and forgot about all his days at Camp Coral. I don't know.
True. No, I don't. I mean, I'm with you. Like, there's got to be some explanation. Oh, hey, Plankton.
At the same time, though, it's kind of obvious that the showrunners for that didn't entirely take all that into account, or they just don't give a fuck.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna need Sandy to fulfill whatever sick game Plankton has in mind.
First, I want to go diving.
Ooh. Come to think of it, I think... I'm trying to remember from the initial 3 seasons, because I don't think Sandy and Plankton ever properly met.
In the first 3 seasons, I don't believe they have.
Like, they were pretty reserved in terms of, like, who met what, or referred to as what. Like, say for, like, you know, SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward and Mr. Krabs to a certain extent, I can't think of Sandy meeting with anyone else.
Which I guess makes sense, especially given that...
Oh, and of course Larry.
Mm-hmm.
Right, which I guess... I guess that makes it... nuts. I guess that makes sense given the fact that the Flanderization of Sandy made it so that now she was the big technical, like, you know, intelligent genius, so having her meet up with Plankton wouldn't have made sense. Even though I guess technically you could argue that she had some exposure to him in that Atlantis TV show episode.
Right.
Oh, Atlantis Square Pantis.
Right. I will admit though, like to give the newer seasons a bit of credit, I do think they found like an interesting loophole around it, because apparently some of the later seasons established that she, Karen, and Mrs. Puff like to get together for girls' night events.
Huh. Even thinking about it, that's gotta be like a huge gap. Like that's gotta be like. At the very least, with Mrs. Puff and Pearl, that's gotta be like a huge.
Well, no, Pearl wasn't there. It was
not Pearl,
like
Karen. Never mind. I for some reason I thought you also said Pearl. Never mind.
I think she did at one point, but initially it was just those 3.
That's fair. Okay, then yeah, that makes sense. Ish.
Yeah. There you go.
And to think, Mrs. Puff and Sandy bonded over being ripped off during the Krusty Krab 2 opening ceremony.
We paid $9 for this.
I paid 10.
And it was that day that we learned that Mr. Krabs probably, I don't know, with land critters, he seemed to think that he could get away with more.
That you could also argue maybe there's a little bit of favoritism considering, you know, Mrs. Puff.
Yeah.
That is true. That is actually true.
Which that is something that I do think is cute, that, like, also something that the later seasons do, that they actually do try to, like, own up to the idea they had of, like, Krabs and Mrs. Puff dating.
Yeah, I was always a little bummed out you never did any more with that after that episode, up to that point.
Yeah. This one there was something, but no, okay, no, I was thinking of something else. There was some development in Squidward's like appreciation of Krabby Patties. Like at first he did, like, you know, again there was that big famous episode where he had never had one before, but then later on they actually had him like eating it more and more, like just in moderation.
I keep forgetting. Was the Midlife Crustacean episode, or not Midlife Crustacean?
But no, that was the one. If you're talking about the one where he talks about wanting Krabby Patty and an iced tea, that was after that other episode.
Okay. Wait a minute. Well, Midlife Crustacean, no, that's the one where Mr. Krabs was having, well, a midlife crisis.
No, I'm pretty sure.
I think that's the one where he almost died and then swore to a life of generosity.
Maybe, but
I'll check the wikis.
Okay, well, while we're looking that up, since we asked you about your thoughts on the game.
Okay, no, Midlife Crustacean was the episode where he was having his, midlife crisis.
And,
right.
The episode that's now officially banned.
Officially banned, censored, and everything in between.
Because of the whole notion of rating ladies' panties, which is SpongeBob. Which I love the fact that, like, when you realize that it's Krabs' mom's place, like, remember beforehand, SpongeBob said, "We score here all the time."
I don't like to think about that.
Wow. I think SpongeBob was the one that said, not me.
No.
I mean, that's
so. Since we already asked you about the game, Doug, I am actually curious. Over there in Scotland and stuff, like, did they still have the SpongeBob show, or was it like a different dub? I'm curious, like, what sort of experience you have with the show, like, potentially from there.
I'd say it's roughly the same what you guys got.
Okay, and real quick, the episode the other episode we were thinking of was Born Again Krabs.
That's it.
That was it. Okay, that's the episode.
The one with the clip that a lot of people like to use to describe the whole fiasco with Warner Brothers. The whole, like, show's over, cheapskate!
And then removes all traces of it. Apparently, I just now am also learning that, and I'm still ticked off about that Brendan Fraser was going to be in that Batgirl movie.
Yeah, just honestly, like it seems like it is so weird considering how profitable Batman is for that company. The fact that they've been like nixing a lot of stuff regarding it. Like there's the Batgirl movie, whatever Hot Water the Flash movie is, and then like that Batman animated series that, as far as I know, is not canceled. They're just trying to find another service to stream it on.
But it is one of those things where I think there was a tweet that explained the whole that humorously described the whole thing of like, wow, we really need to make up some money. You know, I think we can ditch Batman. That has zero mass public appeal or recognition as a franchise. Really, now that is easily one of our more dead franchises.
Yeah, and you know what? Since we're ditching our niche properties, how about Looney Tunes? I mean, what kid nowadays watches Looney Tunes? Am I right?
What did I just come back to?
We're just doing nerd venting.
Nerd venting?
Yeah.
Venting. There we go.
That's what the hip kids call them nowadays.
I call it venting.
Okay, I will be in the dork's corner reading my Monster Lover book.
No, you can do dork venting. We call that one denting. It's when you take a bat, you go up to a car, and then you.
That in order. That is not what we mean by denting, and what you just said is completely out of left field considering that what we're talking about.
Okay. No,
Well, yeah,
I mean
no, in all
it's simple.
seriousness,
No, I
it's
mean
like-
it technically is not irrelevant if I tell you.
No, I meant what Jordan
No.
said was irrelevant.
Oh, I thought you were gonna tell me about
Yeah,
the car.
that's the point. I'm being a dork in my own right.
Oh,
You
I was
guys,
gonna- if not,
you guys are dorks.
Yes, but we're your dorks.
I was gonna say if not that, I could make it relevant hype by just saying that the denting is being done to Zaslav's car.
Well, yeah, that's fire. More dents on that car, the better.
That's more than just a dent, buddy.
Yeah,
It was a total ransacking by Harvey Dent.
It's like right to the back of a garbage truck. Ah!
Boom. Good times.
Just yeah,
So
no.
we're
In all
almost
seriousness,
through,
though, it's kind of
everybody.
funny. Like, it's like it's so weird considering that. Well, recently it's become a little more prominent that the Looney Tunes centric stuff is still active, for lack of a better word. Which, it's kind of funny considering that I figured Batman has more media relevancy in this day and age than freaking Looney Tunes.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm surprised with how much, like, some of the Looney Tunes stuff was salvaged. Like, they already confirmed they're working on a second season of that Tiny Toons reboot, even though the first season hasn't been released yet.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
It
And
is
I know the
nice
Daffy
to
and apparently there's new Daffy and Porky shorts being made, which
Really?
unless that's referring to the movie that they're having.
I assume that's probably relating to the movie.
Yeah,
what
because like, why just settle on just making new shorts just for them, considering all the other stuff they've been making with Bugs and Elmer and all them are still doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if they ended up could you imagine if what they ended up doing was ripping apart their movie and turning it into somehow like turning it into very highly condensed shorts instead?
Oh, so like that string of movies that they used to release back in the 80s.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the sense of like they had a movie, but instead of the ow.
Yeah, I don't get this either.
Well, it's like those sleepy, those very like I don't know what the hell to call them. The shy tikis are right there for the taking, but they won't let you hit them, and there's no way to hit them unless you just start. This is the part where like it would be very tedious if you had to use the cruise bubble for every single one.
I always figured that
So-
like I always figured like the shy tikis were there just for the sake of like beginner traps.
I guess to throw you, but that many in a row, and trust me, they never stop doing it. So the beginner traps very quickly become the gimmick. Yeah, no, I meant like they have a movie, it's all shot, but they can't release it as a movie for whatever reason. They don't think it'll do well as a movie. So instead, they take this movie and then they forcibly like, what the hey?
Wait, what the?
Okay,
Oh,
fine,
boy.
I'll break you the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
Anyway, but
Tartar
then they
sauce laughs
cannot.
in the
But then
face of
they
your
like
bubbles.
forcibly cut it into a series of shorts, one after the other, so that they could try to release it that way. So you get a bunch of like really condensed, odd plots. That's what I was worried about them trying to do.
I feel like that sounds like something that has been done to a movie before. I just don't know what it is.
I mean, well, all I'm thinking of is that I've heard of it done in reverse, where you take a number of shorts and put them together to make a movie.
Right.
But I can't think of a time where it's been done the other way around.
Like, I feel like that has to have been done at least once, but I don't know what that would have been.
I can think of a prime example. Season 1 of Castlevania.
Oh, huh.
That with the way how that whole show was structured at first, that may as well have just been a movie.
That's fair.
Yeah, I could see that.
Number 1 in the Bikini Bottom scavenger hunt. 3 years
Years
running.
running. Thank you.
Thank you.
Noted.
Now then, I do
Got
believe
every
we have
last
your,
one of
I
them.
left no
your
string
portraits,
lone
Mrs.
stone
Toff.
unturned.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now, nice work, SpongeBob. The museum will finally be able to reopen.
Well, at least that's good to know. That's all she was planning to do.
Yeah, I mean, well,
And I shall take
what were you
this.
expecting her to do?
Well, she did tell us to not ask questions that we're not prepared to handle the answer to.
What, did you think she had nefarious plans? Did you think that she was some part of, like, why am I blanking on the name of the crime? Like, it's not vandalizing words. Art forgery, that's it. Art forgery scheme?
Yeah, art forgery.
I mean-
taxi to quickly get this last one.
Remember-
We're almost done with rock bottom.
Oh, well then, why don't we?
Southern elbow grease can't handle.
Oh, I guess all I had to do is talk to him.
Oh.
Oh, well, I guess what you
Thank
already
you,
you already took care of the issue, so just take your prize. Get
Oh.
get your shit and get out.
Now then. Okay, sorry about that particular video. I was just trying to get the old elbow grease shaken off. Next time, how about we go surfing? Or is it snowboarding?
Who cares? We're surfing.
Okay.
We're tongue-boarding, if that means anything.
Tongue boarding, dude.
Oh, I got dead again.